All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Parasyte the Maxim, episode 3. All right, so we had our last episode involve Shinichi and Murano going on their little date.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be starting their kind of cute, awkward, kind of simple little high school relationship and stuff.
That will go smoothly, I'm sure, because then all the stuff will happen that will make it go not smoothly.
Yeah. However, in the OP, it seems like they're built up as being almost like adults that are intimate. So it's like this story might be a little bit longer than just, high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might have more than unprotected handholding, which is too lewd to even think about.
That's pretty lewd,
but,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But in the episode prior, we also ended it off with two people about to get it on, and one of them was our recent new addition to the parasited group of humans.
And the lady's probably a parasite, too.
Potentially, yeah.
If not, she probably won't last long.
Does that mean this is how they're going to reproduce?
I don't know. Or it could just be establishing our new antagonists, in their relationship.
Possibly. But yeah, lots of mysteries and lots of things to learn from Migi.
Yes.
The very hungry and desiring to learn more things little creature in what once was Shinichi's right arm.
Right.
And they've already made that joke. Yes, they've already made that joke.
But they can continue it potentially when him and Murano get it on, because that will also be
quite possibly
interesting.
So yeah, guys, without further ado, let's get into this. Oh. So someone who is a parasite, probably. Oh, okay, definitely.
I think so. Yeah. And it was dark in the previous episode, but is that the lady that was naked?
I'm not sure. Haven't have any enemies. Maybe
this
there
OP
are
really
other
is good.
Animals watching us, thinking that someday we will beat them down. Hey, yeah. You want to walk to school? Yeah. Okay.
And this is where Murano finds out, because she's gonna get targeted.
Oh, nice.
At school.
Yep.
The Holy Grail War is a battle between esteemed mages.
Now this would be that'd
be terrifying.
Feeding ground.
Oh yeah.
Regular assembly of a large group of people. A new math teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, but survived. Oh wait, no.
Where's Tamiya? Yeah, this is the okay.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
All right. Oh.
It's her. Whoop! Too late.
Crap.
Too late. Crap! Individual wills amongst them, yeah.
Right.
So if anything, you guys could end up working together. Just pretending to be.
You're not paying attention in class. I just have other things on my mind. And they'll think like he's got a crush on her or something.
Possibly, yeah. Oh, shoot. She's flexing her role as a teacher. Dang. Huh.
Ouch.
Ouch, indeed.
On her mature beauty.
Yes. All right, I'm actually like really curious how, like, how this conversation is gonna go. Sit down, yeah. Oh, dang.
She can tell what part.
Yep. Oh, I'd like to talk to you more too.
Oh. Right.
Ah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Okay. This is awesome. Ha! Her just
Yeah.
just done with everything else face.
Uh-oh.
Wow, they have some really good eyes to be able to catch Shinichi just in a split second. Oh. Oh, someone else she's met up with. No, this is not a trap. This is a public place. You're fine for now. Okay, so I think this was then potentially the people who were... Oh, gotcha. Yeah. He didn't sync well. Whoa. Yeah, no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she's a leader. She's some special version.
Yeah, probably. It's a good question.
Oh, okay. Cool. And what happened? Ah! No, wait, just is like, okay.
Maybe you're right.
Yeah, good question.
So are they any different from humans?
Right, right. Ugh, that scratching sound. Stop. Ugh.
Okay.
Okay. Huh. Sure. Okay. Alright, that's been established, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
Alright.
Okay. Alright. Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, it's coming for the school! Oh crap, they're gonna work together.
Yeah. You'll now study on your own.
Oh god. Alright, here we go.
Although...
Oh, yep, there it is. Oh, this is terrifying.
What are you gonna do, Shinichi?
No. Shinichi should stay in here to protect this class. Wow, she's moving quick.
Observe art.
Wait, so she's not helping?
Okay.
No. She wants to protect her identity above all else.
Gotcha.
We will have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, good. They're actually...
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Yeah, he definitely looks like the... So we need to separate ourselves.
But he still knows where you are, so... Even if he doesn't know which person is you.
Yeah, but he'll just indiscriminately attack them all. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
No, that is not what we want.
Oh.
Oh my god! Wow! Of course. But then you'll lose 20 people or something in the class. A meat shield.
Yeah,
Literal meat shield tactics. Wow.
And this is what's gonna force him to move.
Yep.
I like it. This is gonna make him actually, go past the fear.
Oh. But you don't understand humans.
Yeah.
Oh. That we're separated. No, he doesn't.
Right.
Whoa, what?
There we go.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
okay.
telling us. Okay.
No, but that's good. That's over explaining. You know,
right.
I think this whole battle's going to be determined by range.
Probably.
Below. Yep. Crap. Yep.
Oh boy. Oh, tentacle powers.
Oh, here we go.
All right, let's do it. Oh, and that's where they end the episode? Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Hey, all right.
This is the conflict that I like to see here. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
All
here we go.
Right.
This is good stuff right here.
Uh-huh.
Like I love that they brought in the dynamic of the fact that just because parasites are working together doesn't mean they agree on things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like A and Tamiya Ryoko. It's like, okay, they were working together, and then all of a sudden he does something that she doesn't like, and okay, yep, I guess that's the end of this relationship.
Yeah, but she doesn't find it to be a thing of where she needs to kill him,
right?
Because in some ways, her survival rate goes down as her identity is revealed, which is actually not completely true. Well,
I mean,
no, it is kind of true because she needs on some level to have a way to exist in this world and to eat and live, basically.
And they brought up the thing that you thought they would bring up, the whole idea of them getting pregnant.
Well, they use the species' physical reproductive kind of system in order to utilize that. But the thing that's interesting is that wait a minute. If this species is such that they cannibalize themselves for the purpose of parasitically attaching to them and then utilizing that species' brain essentially as the foundational point for them to control the rest of the physical part, then in some ways Migi is actually the one doing the weird thing because he's in an arm. So you notice how he was looking at Tamiya or regarding her with he's like, you're putting her on a pedestal.
Okay.
But he's basically, I think what he's saying is that she's like more advanced than him.
Yes.
Now, one thing that separates her is that she got the brain, right? But there's something else in that she's not desiring to, like, she didn't lose her sanity, basically.
Right. She kept her wits about her. She was in a place clearly where she was learning a lot.
Yes.
Being a teacher probably helps with that.
Now, doesn't it make sense that she's actually the better representation of their species than Mr. A then?
Yeah.
Because what I think might have happened here is we've actually been told why their species is one that survives basically potentially any period of time. Because if you think about the idea of cannibalization like that, they would just kill off the species that they would, have there, and then they would run out of people they would devolve into just needing to occupy like dogs and cats and things like that, and then eventually those would run out. And then they would die off. Right. Unless they could leave the planet or something like that. Sure. But if they have a method by which they can essentially just assume the identities of people, then they could subsist in a species eternally, especially with the ability to reproduce. I mean, unless there is some degenerative aspects that would go into the child because of XYZ. I don't know. And when I said degenerative, I don't mean degenerative in like a not in like a genetic sense, but more in just an evolutionary sense of if they eat all the humans, then they have to resort to then they have to resort to lesser life forms. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm talking specifically about on the side of that. There might be like the only reason why they would actually have any kind of worrying about survival is that they don't have the whole reproductive side of things perfectly handled necessarily. Well, we actually haven't determined yet how they reproduce, or fully how they reproduce, because if the hosts can still produce offspring together, right? Yeah. That's separate from the actual parasite reproducing. Yeah. Right? I'm not talking about the parasites reproducing. Oh, okay. I'm talking about them keeping the numbers up of the species they're cannibalizing. Right. Yeah. Yep. Because we just do this with the law of numbers. Right. I like that they brought in the math teacher here. We can basically just use math and assume that at this point, I don't know if the numbers in just this small area would support them basically needing to eat this many. Right. If one of the parasites has had the need to eat more than one human by this point, then it is something that is not sustainable, because humans take a long time to mature and get to the point where they would be able to be consumed and whatnot. So, yeah. So we basically got an issue where the number of parasites will not go up. As far as we know. But there is, I would say, potentially some future here where the two species could coexist if they basically found a way to say, okay, you're reproducing humans? Good. Give them to us. Or we know how to raise them. Or just continue living your life or whatever. Right, but you'll need to find something else to eat other than humans. Right, exactly. You'll need to be vegan parasites or something, Right, and I don't know if what it would be an exchange of resources, because they haven't brought up the whole thing of, does a parasite need to eat humans in order to sustain its at optimum peak efficiency? I think on some level they need something that's nutrient dense, and that's probably the issue, is that humans are probably one of the best options that they have available here. Sure. But it does seem a little bit odd that Shinichi is able to feed Migi just fine, just from the food that he's eating. Now he might be more hungry. Right, he's a lot more hungry, but still that's not the end of the world. Right, the nutrients are still coming from animals. Yes, it's not like they're getting like magically processed. Like the human body's amazing, but still, it's not like they're getting. Well, yeah, no. I don't think that would really change anything. The fact that his body is processing the food and then giving the energy basically to Miggy, because it's all the same human digestive system. Right, exactly. Right? Yeah, that's right. Because they're just eating the brain, so then you've got the head that transforms or whatever. But the body that's processing what's eaten is still human. So you could just as easily eat just
I'm going to eat every effing chicken in this room, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my only other question would be does the strain of having this creature in your head or what have you deteriorate the human body so that maybe they age faster? That would maybe be my other only thing. Is that if it's still a human body, and the human body actually has incredible regenerative abilities and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And while those might be stimulated by the parasite...
Probably not, because the other one was saying, like, you know, if you know, I take you and put you onto my body, we could run it for 140 years, so...
Gotcha. And it's probably not a simple additive formula. It's probably more of like we can get an extra 20% out of this body.
Sure, yeah.
Like I would just assume, given that he's already got the best part, like he's got the brain already.
Yeah, but at the very least, it's not deteriorative.
Yes, that's a good point.
But they still do have to deal with the whole thing of, you know, keeping the number of humans, you know, for when eventually these parasites actually reproduce as parasites, they need to...
But they can't. That was a thing. They can't. They don't have reproductive capabilities. That was why I came upon this theory at all. Was they brought it up in a previous episode? Remember when the one was saying the 140 years one? It literally said we can't reproduce. So in some ways we need to do this.
Well, if they can't reproduce, then the question arrives of where did the parasites come from?
Yeah, why are there any at all?
Because that means this is first generation parasites. There have been no others before.
Yeah, I would say that they're grown.
Connected directly, at least. Yeah, that they're grown. So even if there were more, it's like they were in a lab. They aren't these aren't descendants of other parasites, which is pretty crazy to think about, because that very much seemed like some sort of mass spore hatching.
Yeah,
whatever.
They could grow themselves potentially if they're smart enough. Maybe there is one out there that's.
Sure, you know, when they, like, if they all, like, come together and are able to do that, then they'll be able to achieve critical mass or whatever. And
sure.
Yeah, spread a bunch of spores or something.
But yeah, that's a good point. We don't know that they're aliens or a human experiment at this point.
Yeah.
So we need to value the relationships with the Tamiyas of this whole world here and collectively figure out what's going on here. Tamiya values her own life here, but Mr. A does not. Now, why is it that Mr. A... Now, is it probably because on the simplistic approach, this is just the natural... Animal is in the environment of a predator that actually is dangerous to them, so they just go on the offensive.
They see a threat, so they
go to eliminate it. So it's nothing more complicated than that, would you think? Okay.
Probably not.
Because one of the things I think that if that's the case, then we can remove the idea of them having any kind of specific... I would say necessarily mission.
Well, here's the way I could see them. I don't think they do either, but if they did, I could see that it being something where maybe Tamiya knew that this was going to happen, incited it potentially, or something, who knows, as a way to basically test Shinichi to see...
That makes sense.
...how him and Migi get along and what they're going to do and stuff, because this is this is an organism that she has never seen before, right?
I would say, though, it is a bit too much of a risk to herself, though, to have it be invited in this specific area. I don't think she could predict exactly how Mr. A would respond.
Right, so she probably... Yeah, if... Right, she would definitely not want him to go to the school where she works. And if she knew that... And if she was inciting it, then she would have him go somewhere else. And if she knew she couldn't control him, then she wouldn't do that in the first place.
Right, like she wouldn't tell him he's a student or anything. Like, they would basically find some way to make this be a thing of where, like, oh yes, I lied. I'm going to introduce you to someone. Just say that we met at the park or something like that. Yeah, and she'd be like, why? It's like, well, I don't want them finding out you and I go to this school, right? You want to keep your friends safe, right? And that would have been a very easy way to convince him of that. So I think that Tamiya is actually in a little bit of a bind. She needs information as much as Migi does.
Sure.
So any opportunity that she can have to peacefully have them all meet in an environment and talk about this, that's good. That's good.
Yep.
Because this Mr. A is probably the first one that she's found. And this is obviously Migi having the first, maybe, Well, it's obviously, she says it as much. It's the first one that she's found in this kind of state.
This is kind of like a sidetrack thing, but when they were in the restaurant, and they talk about how, we tried having sex and all that stuff.
And the waitress.
And the waitress, like, drops the, tray of stuff and breaks and whatnot. At first, I didn't think they were doing this as a comedy thing. I thought that she had heard some of the earlier portions of the conversation and like some of the things that they had, shown. And I was like, oh man, because that's the conversation, that's the conflict that I'm really excited to see, is the kind of things like with Tachikawa, where she's like, who have you been talking to?
Yeah, who have you been talking to this whole time?
It's like those little things where it's like, okay, I'm being subtle, but eventually someone notices, right?
Yep.
And say talking to yourself, that's a lot more excusable than say you have a finger eyeball that's floating around, or your heads can split into multiple pieces, and like that's a little bit tougher. And if it was something like that in a public place, and then suddenly you've got this Tamiya person, and maybe she has her own different way that she would handle things, and then you've got Shinichi and him being like, no, we can't, don't kill everyone here to try and, keep yourself a secret or something, or what am I supposed to do? Because I can't change my face. I don't know if we'll get something like that in the future, but if we do, I'd be excited to see how it goes.
I do like the idea, though, the way they introduce Tamiya by having her be on the train, and she has this very interesting blend of utilizing her parasite powers, but also her actual human part as well. So there's a guy on the train, and it'd be very easy for someone on the train to be copping all the feels they could, just because of how close and bunched up everyone is, especially on like a Japanese train where it's notoriously
or in a busy city,
well, right. But have you seen those videos of people like trying to get onto trains and stuff with going to work and things like that, and the people in the train stations are literally shoving them into the trains from the doors, like
like the doors open, it's just you just sort of all
but then when they're trying to get the door shut so the train can leave, they're literally shoving people in.
Oh wow.
There's like six like train employees like trying to push them all in.
Dang.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So it'd be very...
That's some Orwell stuff right there.
Yeah, it's a little... But she has no reason to interfere necessarily like this. Because the way she described it was that it wasn't that he was accosting her.
Right, because I don't think they actually showed it. So I suppose it could have been her, but...
Well, she says specifically, like, can you stop doing that to, like, everyone, basically? I think she says something about a large group of people, but she doesn't specifically say anything about her. Now, obviously, she could be involved in that group,
right.
But it's actually a thing of, why step out and get involved into that?
Yeah, that's a nice little contradiction, because while it might be standing out in a good way,
yes, it totally is. I think it's
still
awesome.
Standing out, right? And the fact that after that she then pushes him 20 feet with like one hand, it's like, okay, that's something that people might like. Okay, it's an anime, right?
It's an anime.
Yeah. But that's one of those things where people would be like, wait, what? Like,
hey, I don't know, if you have some kind of martial training or something like that.
Sure, 1-inch punch,
a swift strike, or if anything, you have someone just use their own momentum just to carry them up and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah, but that's one of those things.
He didn't impact crater a wall or something like that.
No, that's true. But it's definitely one of those things that you don't see every day. So
totally.
Just saying, hey, stop doing that. That's one thing.
That's one thing.
Poof, that's another, like Fusro Da. Okay.
Yeah, so on some level, Tamiya maybe wants to, like, really wants the human experience.
Sure.
Maybe on some level, this is something I'm wondering if the show is going to go into.
Yeah.
Is that they consume the brain, right?
Right.
But what's in the brain? It's just the computer, right? It's the thought processing center of where we command all the things. It's the central processing unit for the body, basically.
Yeah.
But the thing is that if we get into the metaphysical here, what makes us different than animals? I mean, we believe that we have this thing called consciousness, right? But consciousness isn't in the brain. Consciousness is a thing we don't even fully understand. In fact, I think we just assume it's in the brain because
where else would it be?
Right, and we haven't fully understood the brain either.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, is it that, or is it like somewhere in our DNA, in our code, if you will?
Yeah. Well, and also, if it is something about the brain, well, when Migi ate Shinichi's hand / part of his arm,
yeah,
it then became that kind of. Now it's part of the shape-shifting thing, right?
Totally.
So it just takes
it's trying to blend
appearance.
in and
Exactly.
do the thing.
But with the shape-shifting, how much does it actually take on the properties of the thing that it's pretending to be? Because if you pretend to be a brain, how is that actually different from just being a brain?
Right.
Now, you might be able to have that brain come apart a few times and do some slicey things, right?
Sure. And on some level, then there is no brain also, because when it slices up, we can look in there and there's no gray spaghetti matter,
Sure.
So
yeah. But yeah, I suppose that's a good point.
But
and then
it fulfills all the roles, essentially.
Fulfills all the roles of the brain, and the fact that the parasites, when they are young, they didn't seem to really know much of anything, and if they inhabit a dog, they don't really develop, right? Mm-hmm. So it seems like the eating of the brain, although, well, no, I guess not necessarily, because Miggy's still fairly developed.
Yeah, it's true.
It seems to be more about environment than what they actually consume.
Yeah.
But either way, they set up a very interesting dynamic between these characters here. And then they also threw in a little bit of conflict with the whole thing of Murano. With him giving the thing that is understandable of, stay away from me, get out of here. And she's wanting to go back with him to get his stuff or whatever, because she probably still thinks it's some kind of drill, like not taking it seriously, like,
right.
Oh, there's an intruder. Right. Yeah, this is okay. We've done these before. They didn't announce that would be happening today, which is kind of weird. But...
To be fair, that wasn't Murano in the class that said that. That's the other girl who might actually have some kind of thing for Izumi as well. That's his other name. Yeah.
Right. Yes. I would say that's pretty straightforward. She did the whole thing of the.
There's a babe right here looking at the other guy, the perv. And then yeah.
Shinichi runs off and she's like, "Oh, not noticing," or
whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. Passive perception of 28, though, they noticed him on the bus down below the bridge going away.
Specifically, Tachikawa did.
Was it Tachikawa or Murano?
Yeah, it was Tachikawa. And this is the thing. Tachikawa was also the one that gave the, hey.
It wouldn't be an anime in high school without a harem.
Now, here's the thing. Tachikawa, I think, has already been built up this way to be the friend that's not being looked at in that way.
Yeah.
So I kind of was hoping for this.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah.
I don't want a harem necessarily.
No. Well, and technically, 3, you can still not have it be a harem. Once it goes past 3, it's unequivocally a harem. You can have 3 and have it be a harem, but not necessarily. But, yeah. Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways,
logical.
Because they're all not taking, like, active roles in this, like... They're more just really like tertiary side characters at this point.
Right. It's not like it's
taking screen time away from other
exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's probably the main thing that would be bothering potentially about a harem in this show if they did do it, is if it ended up taking away screen time from what the story is really about, which is the parasites and the philosophy of humans and are these things human or
could be. Oh, sorry, keep going.
Well, just, the could they integrate, could we coexist kind of a thing.
Yeah.
If they reformed their diet,
For sure. It could be a reason, though, as to why we as the audience need to care about these kids and these other characters if they end up dying or getting threatened or hurt in some way. Mm-hmm. And that kind of happened here with the school. Like, I did not think he would just...
Yeah.
I thought, if anything, he would wait in, like, a dark alley, like... and track him back home.
But no, just going into the school.
Yep.
All right.
Here we go. No self-preservation at all. Or maybe just a belief in their own capacity, Mr. A we're talking about here, to just kill anything that stands in its way, which is what it said.
And it was able to do that with the humans just fine. And in the case of Shinichi, well, it's a lesser organism because he only got the hand,
Yes, that's true.
Which is what they're going to use as a strategy to take out A, which I'm a big fan of. And the whole thing of making the weapon out of the desk leg just by slicing it at an angle, it's like,
there you go.
Stick him with this.
That's not something to treat lightly.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of pressure it takes to pierce skin.
What was that Firefly quote? 1 pound.
1 pound of pressure.
1 pound of pressure, yeah.
And that thing's sharp. Like blades in that time and stuff like that, they were sharp at the point. They were primarily like piercing weapons
like
and
olden
stuff.
times kind of a thing, or
yeah. But I'm saying that this one actually has some girth to it. Like you end up like even just swiping this, you can cut stuff there. But if you do a ground piercing thing, like if it ends up being a thing where they're grappling, and stuff, and it's like Shinichi go, and then it goes in and goes straight for the head, just one hit, dead.
Now it might not be able to penetrate very far now that I think about it, because there's the one point which is like, okay, yeah, but then there's this part over here, and that part out might act as like a bit of a stopper. Like it'd still be sharp, but it'd be more of like a slicing sharp, I think, rather than like a piercing sharp.
I still think actually its primary use will be a stake,
a stabber,
stake through the heart, stake through the head. Oh yes, kind
absolutely.
Of
thing. I'm just curious, like in sort of a morose way of how effective of, like, if you had something like that was cut by something really sharp, so it really did have that point, how effective of a stabbing tool it would actually be, because I think it would definitely be effective. I'm just curious, like, how far you could actually plunge it into organic matter.
I really think like this is going to be something that this show is kind of trying to bring up visually.
Is that the human body is
an extremely fragile, fleshy meat sack.
Yeah.
With a lot of fluid and not a lot of solid stuff. Like, obviously we've got our bones and our teeth and like all those parts and stuff that are really hard to break.
Still there.
And the meat is there, but it's not it's not that thick. It's not that good of a protection thing. It basically keeps us safe from like a ton of diseases and like micro
I'm more thinking like could it, like, plunge through like the muscle of the body, like breaking skin, bleed blood, all that stuff, and if you get them in the neck or the eye or something like that, or through the mouth, I guess, like that's definitely trouble. But like I don't know, weird curiosity.
We'll see. The fight is about to go down.
Yep.
This show has an interesting way of doing its cliffhangers by cutting us off like literally as we're about to get excited, but
I'm glad they did the thing though of him being underneath him. What I thought he was going to do is he was going to try and like basically break the floor from under him.
Okay.
But I guess climbing through the window makes a lot more sense.
Well, that might also be some of the limitations of the parasites, in that just because they are really strong in certain areas and things like that,
they can still be hurt.
Well, they're very vulnerable. They're carrying a human host.
Yeah.
And that human host is where they do their eating, where they do their shitting, like all that stuff is actually important to their regular, daily lives and stuff. So that head part can go and do all this stuff, but in that brief instance where it broke the floor, it didn't know if Miggy would then go and, oh, psych, I just pierced you through the heart,
or
and
if all the debris would just fall on top of it or something, which is
Also, it's a really good point. Also, I don't think it would die through a piercing through the heart necessarily. It would keep going for a little bit, wouldn't it? Like, you need to break the skull, probably the head.
Well, okay, so that's the thing. That's the thing. If they eat the head and they eat the brain, and then it depends if they need to take the form of that or not, because since the brain is what makes the body function, like, you need the blood and everything else, right?
Yeah.
But since the brain is what actually sends the commands, if you lose your heart, then your brain's not going to be much good soon, because it won't have the blood pumping through it. It won't be able to function. But if they don't actually exist as a brain, then the heart, well, although the heart for the dog killed it, so.
Oh, yeah, good point. Okay, well, either way, we've got a fight on our hands, and they did some interesting things with 3D this episode. Did you notice that?
They did, that part where he goes into the room, and then it did that, like, I don't know if that was 3D, like it probably was for like the desks and stuff, but
I think it was for just a couple things.
But just the frame rate and the tracking shot with Miggy's. Yeah.
Miggy. At the very least, I just like that this show has some unique presentation mechanics that I didn't expect to see in anime usually.
Leave it to Madhouse.
Hey, Madhouse, that's true. Yeah. Also, the music is just killer.
Oh yeah,
it's really loud at some parts, but it's killer. Yes. Oh, it's killer. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction discussion to Parasyte right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us about these stories or about anime in general, or about Jacob's book.
Yes, my sci-fi novel, Battle Lines. It's available for purchase on Amazon. Link in the description below. It's a pretty great book, so you should check it out. Buy a copy. Leave a review.
All right. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.